Hello, everyone. This is JD Calderon, and this is Indie Comics Explained. This is a little unusual because I do have a Marvel comic on the table, which I normally don't have, and I have Spawn 300 and Marvel Comics 1000. The only reason I have the Marvel Comics 1000 on there is I do feel a little strongly about it. Normally, I don't like to do this sort of thing. I like to keep these videos positive. Most of the videos are just suggestions as to books you should be, or I would suggest that you read, not so much something you should be reading, but that I think if if your tastes align with mine, you might like. This book right here, Marvel Comics 1000. A little big to do made about this book. This is 80 years, 80 creative teams, one universe. This book was $10. They didn't staple it. They bound it like a regular book. So like it says on the cover, there's 80 different creators, 80 different stories for 80 different pages. So each creator got a page to work on. It's usually a writer-artist team. I think there was maybe one or two spots where it was just the writer was the artist. And I have to be honest with you, this is perhaps one of the most soulless books I've ever read in a long time. This book is very competently done, meaning it was done by a bunch of professionals who know what they're doing. They're typically, for some, masters of their crafts. For some others, very strong craftsmen. These are some very solid creators. They're great artists for the most part. I don't think there's any one section that's not well drawn. All of them have great artwork in them. The stories by themselves, if you want to call them that, are just vignettes, and for the most part, they're not really all that good, and they don't really have any real structure, and nothing really ties them all together. I mean, there is supposed to be one theme that runs through the entire book that seems to be primarily written by Al Ewing, introducing this one new character, I guess, called, I can pull this up, this guy, the Raider. And this may end up being a good book. I don't think this was perhaps the best way to introduce this character, by just kind of retconning him into the universe, which is kind of what's happened here. And yeah, for the most part, I mean, this is pretty cool. This is a Walter Simonson page. It's always nice to see Walter Simonson doing something for Marvel. Alex Ross. Yeah, I mean, it's a great looking page. But he's eating a mic. Okay, great. Anyway, and most of it is like that, and most of it just runs through it. It's just, this is Chris Weston. I love his artwork, and it's a nice looking page, but in the end, it just really doesn't amount to anything. This is also part of the greater story, But the thing is that I don't know. It's just none of it ever rings true. A lot of it just rings false to me. It's just like I said, it just came off as soulless, which is kind of sad. I was kind of looking forward to this. I don't buy many single issue Marvel comics. If I buy them, they're usually in trade paperbacks, hardcovers, that sort of thing. I tend to spend on the higher end product, but usually those books that I get, they're heavily suggested. I pick this one up. I say, oh, it's the hype or whatever. I say, let me go check it out. What's the big deal? The big deal is that it just wasn't very good. It was not money well spent. If you get the opportunity to buy this book, I would avoid it and go buy something else. So that's my suggestion for Marvel Comics 1000. That's enough of that. Spawn 300. Now, the thing with Spawn and Image and Todd McFarlane and all the other Image creators, I was actually around during the time when it first happened, in the early 90s. I got to see them come. I got to actually see Todd's early work on The Incredible Hulk as he worked his way up through that, and then ended up on Spider-Man. And it was very interesting to see how he grew as a creator and then became this mega superstar on Spider-Man. I still have a lot of the early work, actually. I think I got all of it. And then, they took off with Image. I probably collected Spawn probably for the first 15, 16 issues. And then, one thing that struck me with Todd's work is I love his artwork. He's a fantastic artist. He's just not a writer. I'll just be blunt about it. The guy can illustrate, he can draw. He's a fantastic businessman, incredible businessman. But he's just not that great of a writer. Just never has been. He I'm sure will say otherwise, and that's fine. That's his opinion. I'm sure there are other people who enjoy his work, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just not something to my taste. But there are some fantastic artwork. There's some incredible artwork in here. There's Greg Capullo, J. Scott Campbell, Jerome Opina, fantastic, incredible artist. Todd McFarlane, obviously. Tom Orchowski, I'm pretty sure I brutalized that. I'm sorry. But I've been looking at his lettering for a long time. A lot of good stuff. But, yeah. It's a lot of basic, tropey horror stuff that goes on in the book. I think I laughed at this. I mean, Todd has been doing this since Spawn #1. This is something he picked up from Frank Miller, something we see regularly in The Dark Knight. It's actually the first time I ever saw it. There might have been other places it was done before that. Yeah, I'm sure there were. It was the first place I really saw it. And that was a long time ago. We're talking in 1986. I was a kid. But Todd picked it up and has, it's just, yeah. And then, the artwork is good. It's Todd, it's Spawn. The story is interesting. What he's basically doing is he's setting up, I guess, he's already done the 300 issues, so he's setting up, I guess, I don't know if it's going to be another 300 issues, but it's definitely going to be whatever's coming next for the character, which is kind of cool. I think this is the Scott Schneider section that he wrote, which, it does make a little bit more sense. But, I guess it's a new version of Spawn. And then he said he's going to reset his power clock. I mean, why even give him one at this point? He's been around for 300 issues, didn't run through the clock. I mean, I'm sure he refueled at some point. And then, he has these other characters, some of them hell-based, some of them heaven-based. That seems to be his thing, fighting against heaven and hell and who's going to win and all this other stuff. So, I mean, like I said, I haven't picked up or read the book in a long time. I was never a big fan of his writing. Like I said, his artwork is fantastic. He's an incredible illustrator. This is J. Scott Campbell. Great stuff from him. As usual, he's a fantastic artist. Always draws beautiful women. Great monsters. Great creatures. And then we end up with She-Spawn. It's like anything else. I mean, in the hands of the right writer and great artist. And this is Opina's artwork. And it's only 2 pages of it, which is a real shame. I would have liked to have seen more. Something he does is kind of cool in here, and I wish they were a little bit bigger, was he shows you all the covers for Spawn. Which is kind of cool for the last 300 issues. Like I said, I wish he would have just been a little bit bigger. It would have been nicer to see him a little bit larger. But it's great looking stuff. If you like old school 90s comics, you like Todd McFarlane, you enjoy Spawn, this will definitely be a book for you. It's a little bit, it takes me back, to a time when things were very, very interesting within the comic book community. That's not to say that they aren't interesting now. For some reason, these things just continue to be interesting, just in different ways. But, good looking stuff by Todd and the various other artists, Greg Capullo, J. Scott Campbell. But like I said, the writing is spotty, is a little hit or miss in some places. Sometimes I find it a little jerky. His narrative isn't always straight, at least not as clear as I think as it should be, but that's my opinion on that. So thank you so much, guys. If you like this video, please hit the like button, subscribe, leave a few comments, especially if you have some comments on Marvel 1000. I mean, you may enjoy it. I sure didn't. But, I mean, let me know what you think, about either book. So thank you so much. And if you want to read some of my own work, you can check out some of my own work on the Oswald Chronicles. You can check out the OswaldChronicles.com or Tall Tales Online. And thank you so much. And I'll be talking to you guys soon. Have a good night.